Ooh, Tater, I'm telling. So, I have a bit of news for you guys. I went through the past couple videos that I have made, and I realized that they all have a common trend. They're all really boring. And it occurred to me that unless you're taking the specific classes that I am taking, with the exception of probably like Paradise Lost, you're not going to be coming across the books that I have been reviewing. Instead, I've decided to change my genre to something that's probably a little more relevant to some of our viewers' lives. And more helpful for anybody who is going to college and wanting to know what they should be reading. So instead of doing college required reading, I'm going to be doing high school required reading. I'm going to look at YA fiction, what I recommend that you should read before college, what you should read for classes in high school, just that whole genre, which, don't tell anybody, but they're more interesting books. So in honor of my new genre, my first book, which is a personal favorite, is Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. I actually own 2 copies of Frankenstein. I've got this teeny book that I had to buy. I actually did not read Frankenstein until I got to college, so I had to buy this dinky thing, which has like my highlighter notes and stuff in it. And I also have this like weird, huge copy of Frankenstein. It's actually like a Frankenstein Dracula like combo, and it's got these really cool illustrations. I'll show you somewhere. Oh, here. Yeah, that's when Dr. Frankenstein's with his lovely wife. So Frankenstein is kind of a story within a story. It begins as letters. They're from this guy Walton, who is sending letters to his sister, who is still on land. He is on a ship doing this like Arctic expedition. And then one of the letters breaks off. They find this guy who is Dr. Frankenstein, who is in the Arctic looking for his monster, which a common misconception is that the monster is actually called Frankenstein, but it's not. It's the doctor's name. The monster doesn't have a name. So they find this guy who's like half starved, and he then tells the entire story of his monster and the events that occurred. Going back to one of the previous books, actually it's a poem that I had reviewed, Paradise Lost, it is mentioned a lot in the book. Frankenstein kind of equates himself to Adam. He has this maker who has created him out of God knows what, and then kind of just abandons him. And there's a really nice part in the middle of the story where the monster is watching a family, kind of like spying on them from the forest, and through that he learns language, he learns to read. The story really makes us question what we consider to be a monster, because here we have Dr. Frankenstein, who is a human and a very ambitious human, yet he's created this thing and then left it alone in the world, and all it wants to do is be accepted. Dr. Frankenstein abandons the monster and gives it no choice but to really become the thing that he becomes, which is a killer in the end. But then we see the monster's point of view, and you know, how can we condemn somebody who was abandoned, who never felt what it was like to have a family? You know, he watches his family from a window, and all he wants to do is to be accepted and to have this for himself. And he's angry that Dr. Frankenstein hasn't created him a mate, which is eventually what the monster comes back to Dr. Frankenstein to request. I keep saying a lot, I'm really sorry. Anyway, he goes to Dr. Frankenstein to ask him to make him a mate, just like God made Adam, Eve. And you guessed it, Dr. Frankenstein refuses. Um, Personally, myself, I don't know if he made the right choice because I sympathize with him being the monster quite a bit. I don't know if I would have done things differently if I had been abandoned. And then my creator, who doesn't even want me, refuses to make me someone like myself. But then you also bring into question, like Adam and Eve, if Dr. Frankenstein makes him a mate, what's to say that the mate is going to like him? Why should she want to be with the creature most? It's like saying, like, Eve was made for Adam, but I mean, she really didn't have a choice. There was no other man for her to choose. And so what if she doesn't like, you know, Adam? Then she's another hideous creature that the society is going to reject on her own, bitter, angry for being created and abandoned. And the monster that originally thought he was going to get a mate gets nothing and is just as angry and bitter. So, I mean, it's kind of a lose-lose situation either way. And for any of you who have read Paradise Lost, you would know that Eve, when she looks at her reflection, wants to choose her reflection over Adam. So, maybe the mate wouldn't have chose the monster. You know, what is she going to do? Because she's ugly too? She's going to go, whatever, men. So yeah, there's Frankenstein in a nutshell. I'm trying to make my videos a lot shorter after my horrendous 10-minute video last week. I really recommend that any of you, read Frankenstein if you have not, especially if you're in your pre-college years. You will appreciate reading it. So for your entertainment, I'm going to share a little bit of my past. When I was little, I had one of those original Game Boys, and I had the carrying case that looked like a giant Game Boy. I mean, seriously, I've kept all of this stuff. I mean, I have the huge Game Boy. So anyway, the whole point of this, I had this game, and in the game, see, Dr. Frankenstein, you played as the monster, and you had to go through the levels and find the pieces of your girlfriend, who I think her name was like Bitsy or something like that. And in the background you had the Moonlight Sonata, which as a kid I would just be like, what is it? It's this great song they made, and then I found out it was, you know, classical music. But anyway, so yeah, I never beat the game. Very recently, about a year or so ago, I went on YouTube, and somebody had posted like the code that you put in the game, and you got the ending, and I watched the ending. It was lame and definitely not worth the effort it took to go through all the levels. But yeah, thought I'd share that with you guys. Thanks for tuning in to Wednesday. I will see you all next week, and I'll be back to my dorm room. So enjoy my 2 bookshelves behind me, and I will see you soon.